Charles de Gaulle, France's visionary in the shadows. Before he became the voice of Free France, before the world knew his name as president and statesman, Charles de Gaulle was a soldier, a writer, and a man obsessed with one thing: how to win the wars of the future. In a time when France looked backward, he looked forward, and he saw a storm coming. This is not the story of fame. This is the untold story of Charles de Gaulle before the world watched. Charles de Gaulle was born in 1890 in Lille, northern France, into a family that prized patriotism and intellect. His father taught philosophy and history, and young Charles, he absorbed ideas of honor, duty, and destiny. At 19, he entered Saint-Cyr, France's top military academy, and quickly earned a reputation: proud, stubborn, brilliant. In World War I, de Gaulle served with distinction. At Verdun, he was wounded and taken prisoner by the Germans. But he never gave in. He tried to escape 5 times. That time in captivity, it wasn't just about survival, it was reflection. And that's when the dangerous questions began. Why was the French army so unprepared? Why did we send men to die in trenches for nothing? De Gaulle began to imagine a new kind of war, a war France wasn't ready to fight. After the war, de Gaulle returned to an army that didn't want vision, only obedience. But de Gaulle, he had ideas. In the 1920s and 30s, he rose slowly through the ranks, not because he lacked talent, but because he spoke too much truth. He wrote books, he gave speeches, he challenged the old ways. His most famous work? Verse L'Armée de Métier, War to Professional Army. In it he claimed, mass conscription? Obsolete. Static defense? A grave mistake. The future? Tanks. Planes, speed. His vision? A small elite armored force, fast, flexible, deadly. But the generals, they mocked him, called him arrogant, unrealistic, even dangerous. And yet, across the border in Germany, someone was listening. German officers, including Heinz Guderian, read de Gaulle's work. They didn't disagree, they followed it. While France built fortresses, Germany built blitzkrieg. De Gaulle warned his superiors. He wrote, he spoke, he pleaded. But France clung to the past. And de Gaulle? He stood alone in the future. Then came 1940. The storm finally broke. Nazi tanks swept across Belgium. The Maginot Line? Bypassed in days. And de Gaulle? He was handed a small armored unit. Too little, too late. But what he did with it shocked everyone. At Montcornet, June 1940, de Gaulle led one of France's only counterattacks. Outnumbered, undersupplied, no air support. But still, he delayed the Germans, destroyed their tanks, lifted morale. No, it wasn't victory, but it was a glimpse of what might have been if France had listened. Days later, France surrendered. But de Gaulle, he didn't. He fled to London, and from a BBC microphone, he spoke to the world. France has lost a battle, but France has not lost the war. The soldier they ignored became the voice of resistance. So who was Charles de Gaulle before he was a president? He was a man who saw the future in a mirror the past refused to look into. He was called arrogant, difficult, out of place, and yet, he was right. In our next episode, we follow de Gaulle as he builds the Free French movement, alone, in exile, with nothing but belief. Subscribe to War Minds Muitin Bamis. And remember, the greatest leaders are forged in the silence before the storm.